Jeff, I'll pencil you in for your question next time.
Whoa!
The best joke you've ever told?
You haven't been around me, Les. We're going to hang out more of these days, though, new Les.
Make a TV show out of this. You and Les starring.
Definitely can make a TV show.
Are we done?
Should we just?
Yeah, just ask. There's no opening
I want to
statement.
ask, really, for any of you guys, just, you kind of remade the linebacker room since the offseason started. Signed guys, drafted guys. Just kind of talk about the sum total of what you've added there and how important it was to do that.
Yeah, I think it all goes about opportunities, and when you talk about some of the guys that we've added, it's because of the opportunities that were put in front of us and based on their talent level, and we're excited about that. We're excited about the team speed we added. There's no doubt we sit up here knowing that we still have other things that we want to do going forward, that there were things that maybe ideally we wanted to do this weekend, but feel good about our process and feel good about the talent that we added, and we're a better football team than we were when we last took the field. And I say that with all due respect to where we were at that time, but I think we've gotten better, and we can still continue to get better and add pieces, and we'll do that.
You mentioned, just to follow up on that,
I'm definitely going with Jeff.
just to follow up on that, you mentioned that there were certain situations that were presented to you in terms of the linebacker position, and of course, Hassan's more of an edge probably than off ball. But did you have to yourself reevaluate your views on that position in light of Gannon's schematic changes?
No, I don't know if there's a perception that, we just kind of go into draft meetings or free agency meetings and just basically take the off-ball linebackers and say, like, no thank you. I think for us, it's just as much as possible keeping the main thing. And it's always going to be about making sure the O-line and D-line are really strong, and that's where it starts for us. And after that, when there's opportunities to add or when the value's there, and I think you see that with Kazir and certainly Nakobe here in the last few weeks. And those are really good football players that we think will add to our team on the field and to the culture of our team off the field.
You said you'd be aggressive with the undrafted class, and it seems like that's already happening. How much different is this year in terms of the preparation and the process than previous years?
I don't think it's much different in terms of process. It's always hectic. There's always a lot going on. There's always a lot of conversations, and to be honest, I feel bad for the players and the agents because they're trying to juggle 31 different calls, 32 different calls sometimes. So we just try to be as aggressive as we can, and knowing just like in the draft, we'll get some guys and we'll miss out on some guys. And I think we got a good class, and there'll still be open roster spots when this is all over because we're going to continue to look for opportunities.
As far as the secondary goes, you said that there were things that you wanted to address. You said that there were things you wanted to address in the draft that you maybe didn't get a chance to. Was defensive back one of those things? You didn't draft any of them, and I guess where do you go from here?
Yeah, I think. Did I say something that insulted you, Rube? No. I think that. When we looked at it everywhere we were in the draft and we looked at the players that were on the board, there were very few occasions where we felt like we were just bypassing a position. We felt like we were even considering bypassing a position. We just kind of went as the board was going, and if guys were in the same stack or tier, we had conversations on guys. And we try to get a little more aggressive after the draft, but I think the way we look at the defensive backfield position, particularly the corners, when you look at kind of what we did last year after we got to camp and claiming Mack and bringing Mack in and trading for Josiah and trading for Carey and trading for Tay. Those are all guys that we had good grades on. They're young, talented guys that will have the first time going through our off-season program. And so we look at them almost as part of this draft class in terms of adding guys who for the first time go through our off-season and get a chance to be with our coaches. So those guys all are talented guys, and that doesn't mean that if there was an opportunity we wouldn't have added a guy, but there weren't many opportunities for where we were picking to do that. And obviously, we made a trade today, and we try to get a little bit more volume, and as that was going, then we decided to go back and move up and make sure we got the guy that we did, because there are a lot of players that came off before we picked today. So, you know, it's hard for all of us to kind of be patient there, but we thought it was the right thing to do.
About safety, Howie, that, you know, reports of some interest or communication with Tyrann Mathieu. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think that where we are at the safety position, you know, we got a lot of confidence in Anthony, and that's why we brought him back. We got a lot of confidence in Marcus. Marcus played really good football for us last year. We got a lot of confidence in Kayvon, and then we brought Andre here last year. We have Jared, and then we'll continue to look at that position. You know, nothing imminent, but again, we probably have a higher vision of that room than maybe is perceived.
As far as the due diligence on Grant, because it was kind of a unique situation. He retired because of the concussions. How did you guys sort of feel comfortable with that? How did you sort of work through that?
Yeah, once we go through the medical meetings, and we have a lot of faith in our medical staff, and they're the experts in that, and they passed them. So for us, you know, when we go through the fall and we kind of have concerns on some players, we put in the reports, you know, our concerns, and then our doctors look at them, our training staff looks at them, our performance people look at them, and at the end of the day, they make those calls, and you know, we go into the draft, and those things are already decided, and there were no medical concerns for us on Grant, and you know, I think we just kind of say at the end of the day, like when there's a P in front of a guy's name and he passes, that's all we need to know, and we go.
Andy, you're a candidate for the Steelers job, so what's it been like the last few weeks, knowing that while still working here? And then Howie, if you were to lose him, you've already lost some key members of your front office, how would you deal with it?
Well, yeah, I mean, you talk about, you know, some of the things here that have happened really since the end of the 19 draft, and we've lost a lot of really good people, and we still have a lot of really good people, but obviously because of that, we're going to have to continue to make additions and continue to fortify that group, and I think we have a good process for that. I think, you know, we're in a situation where we want to continue to grow talent in the building, and we have good people in the building, and you know, just like our football team, we're always looking to add good people, and I think you're only as good as your people, and we have really good people, and obviously Andy's one of them.
How about, sorry, Andy, if you wouldn't mind addressing it.
You know what? We always talk about be where your feet are, right? Be where your feet are and focus on the task at hand. And that's what we did. And I think our group as a whole, coaches, scouts, everybody really locked in on this process. And I think you saw the results the last 3 days in the draft class that we brought in. So, you know, really fortunate to be a part of it here, and love what we do and love what we're doing and where we're heading.
Follow up on Cam
When you
Jurgens.
look at the
Follow up
offense-
on Cam Jurgens from last night. Is he a center-only prospect, or will he have a chance to compete for guard this year?
Let me take that one.
Yeah.
I was starting to feel like Boston Scott the one who comes up here and puts the sunglasses on and just sits next to the guy that's running like that? That's what I was starting to feel like a little bit. Andy and I were just sitting here bodyguarding. We think that he has good position flexibility and kind of similar to Landon last year of being able to play center and guard. And you know, as you saw last year that, you know, we drafted Landon. He had the C by his name, but, you know, played obviously really good for us at guard. So we feel the same way with Cam, that he has that position flexibility. Obviously, he's got the C by his name first, but yeah, we're hopeful, and we know that he can do both.
Landon's a whole lot bigger, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Just discuss what you saw in the
Sure, yeah, we did. With Chiron, we saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he showed up, some of us saw him for the first time down there, and his explosiveness, his get off his pass rush that week, and his effort and the motor he practiced with was evident. On the tape, you see the same thing. You see a guy that gets off the ball. You see a guy that can rush, win 3 ways. The energy he plays with was outstanding. You know, and he's a guy that's got traits. He ran a 4.40. He's got an exceptional get-off with a 1.50-10 split, and we just saw it, you know, and players come in all shapes and sizes, and he's one of those natural leverage rushers that can get off the ball and win.
Captain, 17 special teams tackles.
Excellent special teams player. You know, Howie just said 17 tackles there. You see the speed, the effort, and the physicality, covering kicks. So we just saw a great opportunity, and credit to Howie for moving up and going and being aggressive and getting him here.
And
Follow up on the depth at tight end with Grant.
Yeah, Grant. He's an outstanding F tight end and really good in the passing game in terms of route running, catching the football, separating, getting downfield. He's got really good play speed. Really smart football player. Just reads coverages, can uncover versus zone and man, and catches the football clean. So we're excited to have him as well.
Nick, when you look at what you guys did over the weekend on offense, I mean, trading for AJ, getting Grant and also Cam, I mean, how much do you feel you guys have helped not only your offense as a whole, but Jalen Hurts especially?
Yeah, again, like Howie said this, we're definitely better. We're better after this weekend than we were at the start of this weekend. That's what you go into the draft hoping to do. Again, you got a guy with Cam that has position flexibility, and I know that's what you said, but he's still able to play. Be able to play both. I think what you look at it probably less to address what you're saying is he's probably a center that can play guard, where Landon was a little bit vice versa because of the size. With AJ, obviously. I think you guys saw how excited we are about that. We saw that Friday night, Thursday night. He just is again, like going back to what I said, body quickness, strength, and catches everything. And he's done it at a very high level for the last 3 years. And so couldn't be more happy there. That was definitely something that that really is going to help our offense, right? And they're not going to be able to just key in on Dallas or key in on Devontae or key in on Quez. Now there's another guy in the mix that they're going to have to take away. And then as far as the tight end with Grant, just really excited about him and his ability to be able to play that F tight end and let us be into some 12 personnel. Now we're unique, right? We're very unique because I think we have a top 5 tight end in the NFL on our team with Dallas Goedert. But this will help us, a little bit with some of the 12 personnel. I think as we looked at our snaps last year, we had some 13 personnel no huddle that we did that was, that we were able to pack in tight and run the football, but also spread out wide, and he's going to be able to help with that. And so just very pleased with the direction our offense is going. I think something you forget too. I mean, I think I did a little bit is that Grant was Jalen's tight end at Oklahoma, and so they have a rapport there already, and they've done it together, and Jalen's thrown him some meaningful passes in some meaningful games. So super excited about where we are and where we're headed.
One more point, I know there's some questions about Cam. I think for us going through the season and seeing Landon and Jordan next to each other, I mean, that's imposing. And I think we felt like the chemistry that they had developed, like going forward and how young those guys are, just developing that left side. And we've seen something like that when we played really well when we have Brandon and Lane, and lucky for us, obviously Lane's still an unbelievable player in person. Really glad to have him. But I think as we went through it and kind of looked at where we were and saw how powerful that side is and how important that was going forward and the chemistry that they developed, we felt like going forward that was the right thing for us to keep that way. So I obviously Landon's got position flex, Isaac's got position flex. But I think that was also part of it as we looked at our team going forward.
Can you confirm the tight end room? There's a report JJ's moving the tight end. Kind of what went into that thinking, and then also Devin Allen is a guy you acquired too. What did you see that you liked about Devin Allen?
What did you see from him today at the Penn Relays?
Yeah, he's over there now. Wish I could have seen it. I liked him on the Penn Relays.
Google? Is that what people do these days? Do they Google?
I mean, I've watched him in person. What did you like about Devin? What can he bring? And then what about the move for JJ to the tight end?
Howie Boston's got it.
Obviously with Devin, you see just flat out speed. One thing that was really cool, I thought, is that his teammates being there to support him and connect with him while he ran in the Penn Relays this weekend. I think there's something out there with Slay being right there on the track. I can't say enough about Darius Slay. He'll be mad I said Darius, but he's a great teammate, and anytime I get a chance to say that, I'm gonna verify that over and over and over again. He is a phenomenal teammate, and he was right there with him, watching him win the 110 hurdles today. What do you run, a 13-1, 13-11? Yeah, that's amazing. Gannon ran something like a 14.25 in high school. You guys will have to look that up, but obviously that's nowhere near what Devin's running. But anyway, obviously his speed, we were really excited about that. And then JJ just getting an opportunity to, he was a heavier wide receiver. And it's not going to be hard for him to put on some weight and take his athleticism and over to the tight end side where he can create a little bit different mismatches there against safeties and linebackers as opposed to corners and nickels. And so I think that will help. I think that will help JJ. And last year he was what you would call our enforcer, right? Our hockey enforcer, as far as you go in there and you block this guy and get physical with him, and he did a really good job at that. And I think that we saw the talent there. That he's got some nastiness to him, some some feistiness to him. He showed it on special teams as well, and now he's going to try to do that at tight end. And we're excited about the project that we have at hand for him.
When it comes to
with potential upside, did you have any conversations in the second and third round about potentially taking a quarterback?
We really didn't. Our board kind of dictated the way that we picked in those rounds, and we were very comfortable with the guys we picked.
Question, Strong, can you confirm the signing, and what is it you like about him?
What are we doing undrafted? Can we talk about the draft?
How, in talking to you in Florida, you did not downplay the significance of this draft. When you look at the capital you have for next year, acquiring A.J. Brown and the 5 players you drafted, how do you, I guess, did it reach what you hoped for? Did it exceed it? How would you explain the overall process?
Well, I think pushing 1 pick to next year and pushing a second pick to the year after maybe took a little bit of the load off this particular draft class, right? To be fair, when you have 3 first-round picks, it's different than when you balance and you have 2 and 2 and get a second. That being said, if we would have talked in Florida and you would have told me kind of the number of picks we had, I probably would have been disappointed, but the players that we came up with for these picks, and then, knowing, for us, a big part of this draft class is obviously AJ, who doesn't show up as part of this draft class, and our 1 next year and a 2 going forward. And, I think the answers to those things have to come over time. That's just the reality of it. We could all sit here and say this player's going to be great, and everyone will do that tonight. But we'll see in a couple of years, and I think we're excited about the guys that we got. We're excited about the character of the guys we got. But now that they got to go do it, and they got to go perform. And as we know, it's an adjustment coming from college football to the NFL. But I think that just if you would have even said to me, I was just thinking about it after the draft, you would have said to me that, a week ago that this would have been the players that we got. And I would have said, what picks do we have to use in the future to go get those guys? So I'm proud of our group, and just saying that, I know right now the 3 of us are up here and we represent a lot of people. There are a lot of people that work tremendously hard on this draft. The scouts going on the road away from their families, people in this building grinding and doing different things. The cafeteria staff's here all weekend doing an amazing job getting us food and doing really high-class meals. We probably all ate a little too much this weekend. Our support staff, the things that they do for us, people like Katie David, who was here till 1 in the morning every night and then comes right back at 7 in the morning. Our cap people, Jake and Bryce, and the work that they do through this weekend. And we before the draft, Jeffrey pulled Coach and I aside and he said, "How lucky are we to do this? How lucky are we to do this?" And I thought about that, and it kind of made me think about, how privileged we are to do this for a living and to be able to pick players and put together a team, and it's special. And, made me think of how I got here. And I remember getting here 20 years ago, and Leanne Hartley brought me into the vet, and I had my first interview. And these are special things that we get to do, and I'm just very appreciative of that. And, appreciative that we get the opportunity to just try to build this football team and get back to a Super Bowl.
Going back to the wide
Going back to the wide receiver room, there's some reports out there now that Jalen Riggers has asked for a trade. Can you confirm if that's the case, and basically can you confirm like what his standing is currently with the team?
Yeah, Jalen Reagor is a Philadelphia Eagle. You know, he's going to be here, and you know, we want to have good players in that room. We want to have good players on this team, and he's worked tremendously hard to get in shape and to come here into this offseason program, and now he's got an opportunity, and so you know, we don't anticipate anything changing.
Hey, Nick, Howie was just talking about left guard and Landon and you know, what you have with him and Jordan. So assuming he's staying at left guard, right guard, you have Sua, you have Herbig, you have Driscoll, you have Isaac in the mix. How do you approach that right guard position moving forward?
Yeah, got a lot of good opportunities for guys. Isaac's played a lot of football. You know, we're going to see how everything shakes out. I mean, Isaac's coming off of an injury, but, you know, Jack Driscoll played meaningful snaps. Nate played meaningful snaps. Like going back to Isaac, we know how good of a football player he is. You know, Cam being able to be in the mix there. So we got a lot of good options there. I think I think the one thing that I just continually amazed of about this place is the depth we have. Not only do we have a great starting offensive and defensive line, which is arguably one of the better ones in the NFL, we have depth at those positions too, and we needed that depth last year, right? With some of the injuries that we went through, and to be able to get down to your third guard or your second guard, and I didn't even say Sue. I apologize, because obviously he did a great job of stepping in and playing meaningful snaps there too. We were watching cut-ups the other day of our Washington game, and Sua and Jordan are working a combination together, and that was on the teach tape of, hey, this is what our B block's supposed to look like. So just very fortunate the depth that we have there. Again, you don't ever want anybody to get injured, but you really see when somebody does here that the next guy up is ready to go, and that's a tribute to Howie and his staff and the depth that we have, the players in itself, and then Coach Stout and Roy that they're developing those players.
All right, thanks, folks.
Thank you.